everybody. Welcome to a Monday morning edition of the show called Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder, with comedian Swig and Talent. These guys have been in comedy films, film festivals, comedy commercials. They did everything related to comedy. Now they're in something we call a sports talk show that we call the Box Seats. Before we jump in, I got to say, how was you guys Easter weekend? And are you guys still suffering from that, what was that, the Earth, Wind, and Fire versus last night? Y'all still suffering from that, or mine?
That was a Lou Rawls presents Earth, Wind, and Fire Thon.
Yo, man, it was dope, man. Listen, I put it to you this way, man. The women were swooning over how good Isley looks at 76 years old. But don't mistake the fact that they figure there's a lot of money that comes along with that 76-year-old gray hair.
I thought it was 79. I didn't know. I thought it was 79. But okay. All right, let's jump into the COVID report, man. First thing I got to kick off is the Nationals and Braves has yet to been able to play because, as we've been talking about last week, they had a lot of COVID, so-called COVID scares. It looked like over the weekend those COVID scares became a reality. They have yet to play. They were even supposed to play tonight, but now they got pushed off to play tomorrow. So, COVID is even affecting baseball. And because we got so much to talk about, I want to jump in right now into the women's basketball because Stanford jumped up and beat Arizona. First time Stanford beat Arizona. First time Stanford won an NCAA championship since '92. So, Talon, I'm going to start with you, man. First of all, the women's basketball, they ball. You know what I mean? These girls are balling.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's women's basketball, my favorite.
So what's your thoughts when you heard that Stanford, and first of all, Stanford was supposed to win the game before, but they didn't win it. So what's your thoughts about the Stanford winning the NCAA championship?
Well, for me, I was very excited. But again, when we talk about people who haven't won since this and this hasn't happened since that, all of that got to go out the window because it's COVID season. This is the year of the COVID. Until this thing is behind us, expect the unexpected. You know what I mean? Make probable the improbable or impossible, because this is where we are now. I was very happy. I mean, Stanford deserved it. You play hard, you put yourself in position to win. Like you said, Arizona probably shouldn't have got past the last victory, but they did. It's COVID season. So for my ladies, Stanford, job well done. I'm with you. Love it.
Congratulations to the ladies, man. Fig, what's your thoughts?
Man, it was it was shocking to me, man, because when you think of certain programs, you think they have a strong athletic program, but when you think of Stanford, you think more of academics, as opposed to athletics. When you hear the word Stanford, you think academics are attached to it, man. And the fact that these young ladies are not only very intelligent, very smart young ladies, they're also very athletic and can do their thing, man. They put it down, man. Well deserved. It was a hard fought game, man. They went tooth and nail, and they was able to pull it out. And congratulations to Stanford, man. They did what it did, proving that athletes do have a brain. They can do their thing, man. They put it down.
All right, let me ask Mr. Rodney Perry. Rodney, what's your thoughts about the Stanford winning?
It was a hard fought game, man. They went tooth and nail.
I don't know why
they was able to pull it out.
You can't hear
Am I the only one to hear that?
Yeah, no, we all
No, we hear it too.
All right. No, man. I mean, it's a great game, top to bottom. 1-point victory. Gritted it out. I mean, you got to love games like that, no matter who's playing. I'm not as big a fan of women's basketball as Talon is, but it was a great game, man, top to bottom, dude.
I got to say this to you guys. Losing a championship by 1 point is got to be wrenching. Like, I don't care what nobody says, in any sport. You know what I mean?
Any game. one point hurt, bro.
Get blew out?
Yeah.
Lose by one.
Blowout feels better.
Yeah, I'd rather get blown out.
No.
It does. I'm going to tell you why. It's like, how we say, the expression, we can laugh now, but when you get blown out, you can go to calming down and get into the joke part of it make jokes about it. Ain't nothing funny about that 1 point loss.
Not only
that bus quiet.
Not only that, if you're getting blown out, you know you're going to lose the game as the game
right.
proceeds.
If
the game's tight,
I would rather lose by 1 than get blew out all day.
Well, each person's different. Let me.
I'll have to. I'd like to ask the panel of women: would they rather get blown out or just barely get by 1?
Let me ask.
I'm off. I'm gonna click up.
Let me ask the rest of this. We also saw over the weekend, Gonzaga ended up beating out Baylor. Gonzaga is facing Baylor now because at the end of the day, Gonzaga had one of the best. Depending on who you are, because he's got, some people like the season, some people think the season affected by COVID. But I have to say, Gonzaga beating UCLA with that jumper the other day by Jalen Suggs, was it Saturday night? That had to be one of the best, Final Four games. Just best games I've seen. You know what I mean? And Gonzaga almost lost that game. But Talon, I'm gonna ask you, man, when you saw that Gonzaga beat UCLA game on Saturday night, what was your thoughts?
First of all, a lot of people had it not even being that close. So I was shocked by that it was overtime. The game-winning shot obviously shocked everybody. It shocked you, Frank, more than everybody, because you almost cursed just now. You said, when I saw that Frank is the one guy we can count on in this show not to curse, no matter what. And Frank almost cursed. He said, man, when I saw that shot, it was one of those heaves, man. And you know what I like even better than the shot? I like that the young man in his post-game interview kept it real. You get so many athletes that would have embellished on that. Like, nah, I work on that shot. You know what I'm saying? That's my shot. Ain't nothing luck about it. Blah, blah, blah. The young boy said, listen, man, I still can't believe it went in. He's in the interview right after the game. He said, "Man, I got to see it when I get home."
Right. Now, this goes to Rodney Perry's point where he said he'd rather get by a point. Rodney, would you really like to have been on UCLA team losing like that?
I don't want to lose, Frank, ever.
I know that, but that's not the question. The question is if you
but I'm qualifying what I'm about to say. I never want to lose, whether it's a blowout or a close game, but it's got to be tough, man. The guy, you battle back, you scrape into the game, and the guy comes down and hits a knockdown 3 in your face. Man, that's got to be crazy. And he did say he practiced that shot. He practiced that shot all the time. Well, his coach said it anyway. And so, good for him, man. Great shot, great buzzer beater, game winning, and it puts you on the national radar even more than you already were.
And it puts your stock up higher, too, if you're trying to go to the NBA. Fig, what's your thoughts when you saw that shot? Because UCLA lost a heartbreaker, man. That's a heartbreaker way to lose.
Well, the first thing is that I would imagine that the vast majority of people wouldn't have thought that UCLA wouldn't have been in that game like that. We thought it would be more of a one-sided win for Gonzaga. But the thing is that if he didn't hit that shot, it wasn't like a win or lose type of shot. They was going into a second overtime. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a lot of pressure on it. But when I saw it, it wasn't like a heave. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he just threw it up. That was a real shot. Like he pulled up. If you look at the form that he took that shot with, it was a real shot. Like he looked really good taking the shot. You know what I mean? His form, everything, the follow through. It just hit off the backboard. Nowadays, when the shot hits off the backboard, we think it's a lucky shot. Maybe it was, but in the era of the Steph Currys and the Damian Lillards, those are the type of shots we expected to see from now on in the NBA. You know what I mean? Because these guys are taking logo shots and they going in.
Well, I'll say this for the record. UCLA should have won that game. UCLA was winning that game. They was in control of that game. They should have won that game. You know, and that would have been a lot in just that alone, because everybody in their mother picked Gonzaga to win the championship, let alone that game. You know what I mean?
Why you say should have? I'm not just curious. You said UCLA should have won that game. Why you say they should have?
They were winning.
They had it. They had it to win.
Yeah, they had it to win.
They should have closed out.
And they lost the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I said should have. They should have won that game.
They were in control to win the game, and it was theirs to lose. Yeah, it was theirs to lose, and they lost it.
They couldn't deal with Timmy. Timmy had him. A guy like with a name like Timmy. Let me tell you something. When the last time we heard a dude like Timmy?
That's right.
You know what I mean, and that wasn't his first name. That was his last name. Who would think that a guy like Timmy would be, doing the damn thing, man? I'm like, come on, Timmy. Kick they behind. Do it for the old school people, because Timmy is an old school name.
Okay,
Timmy is making it happen.
But okay.
No. And I mean, I hear what y'all saying. They was up, but being up don't mean you gonna win.
No,
we saw that.
It don't mean you're gonna win. But as we all know in basketball, if you have control of the game,
they didn't have control of the game. Obviously, they got their ass whooped. They lost.
1 point ain't ass whoop, bro.
It ain't a blowout.
One shot and it's overtime. That ain't an ass whooping. Ass whooping, I ain't going to overtime.
All right.
You know what I mean?
All right.
They should do that. They should do that in boxing. When there's a draw, throw 3 more rounds up.
Well, they used to go fight 18 rounds. They don't do that.
I know, right?
Yeah. All right, let's talk about in baseball, right? I was talking about you guys about this kid, this Japanese pitcher, man, named Shohei Ohtani. Remember a week ago in preseason? I said to this dude, he hit a home run and he had a lot of strikeouts. Actually, he had 2 home runs in the preseason game. A week later, the same kid, it's a home run in the game and throws more than 4 pitches over 100 miles per hour last night. And he right now has one of the best starting pitchers. He's one of the best starting pitchers in the game, as we all looking at. Like to this moment, he's one of the best starting pitchers. So I'm gonna ask you, Talent, is this Japanese pitcher, could he be setting along the lines of literally a new and a new look for the pitchers in baseball? Because he's setting some remarkable records right now. Talent, what you think?
I mean, he's just good. But I don't think he's setting anything different because American game of baseball has had a great relationship with the Asian community as far as players. So when you talk about the Hispanic community and reaching out to the Asian community, I'm a Yankee fan. We've had our share. You know what I mean? Mets had their share. Like every team is looking for those guys. Let's keep it real. When you go to these places, like when you go to Asia or you go to Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, these guys, their whole life is baseball. Like they want to do this at that level. It's different. I think we was talking about another sport, but it's different how the overseas guys attack sports than we do. I think one is thinking about how much money they can make, and one is actually thinking about legacy and longevity. So I think this is good for the game.
I 100% agree. Fig, what you think?
I think that the dude is doing, pretty decent, man. But I mean, damn, man, the season just started yesterday. I mean, they got a long way to go, boy. I'm telling you, baseball. I think they played like 199 games or something like that, man. They got a long way to go. They only like 2 games in, man. I want to see what this guy looked like in October, because that's when Reggie Jackson stood up, like in October. So I want to see what he looked like in October. I mean, this just happened.
But for the record, Fig, no pitcher has ever thrown more than 4 pitches, 100 miles an hour, and hit a home run in the same game. Nobody's ever done that.
Yeah.
Rodney Bray, what you got?
Yeah.
Well, when I played baseball, man, it was a focus on being an all-around player. One young man I played with, Ronald Jefferson, the guy could hit, steal bases, run, and he ended up having a pretty good baseball career. So I think there's a new focus in baseball on being a more all-around player. And you're going to see more of this as we progress in baseball, because they're looking to make baseball more exciting.
They're looking to make baseball more worldwide too, and Asian people alone got to look at this kid like stand up. Like this kid is going to probably be their savior. You know what I mean? Everybody got that guy. This kid might be that guy. I don't know.
I mean, that's what it was like when I played. So sometimes you just get out there and get dirty. Play the game.
When you played, huh? Okay. Yeah. I'll let that one slide by. I'm not gonna. I'll let that one slide.
You never question talent. His skill set on the basketball field. And you don't question me.
But I think the same thing. Talent too. It's a talent. You play. Yes, I'm gonna let that one slide by too.
You want to hear about my baseball career? Is that what you want to hear?
No, not right now. Not right now.
Yes, I played baseball, Frank. Thank you for asking.
I believe you. I believe you.
I was a world-class little league player, and you gonna sit here and mispronounce my name, Frank Holder?
Hey,
I believe you.
All I want to know is why you got to dry snitch on me. You never questioned talent. Talent over there. Talent stole something too. He stole something.
Talent talk about his basketball career all the time. I missed the baseball one time, and I'm a liar. It's fine, Frank. It's fine.
I ain't say nothing.
You called me a liar, Frank. I saw it in your face.
Basketball, baseball, football.
All right.
You don't want to hear about my football career.
All right, let me ask you all about now. I don't know if you all got a chance to see this story. Over the weekend, Tampa Bay Buccaneers cornerback, my name Carlton Davis, he one of the dumbest things. These young boys, man, sometimes they do some stupid stuff. He tweeted out an Asian slur. I couldn't find the Asian slur he said. I looked all over, I couldn't find it. But he said such a bad slur that he got vilified, especially when he said the slur over the weekend during all this Asian hate stuff. He said it, and then he tried to tweet it back because he thought the word meant lame. Now, as we all know, you could do some dumb stuff when you're young, but I don't know how lame can equate to what Asian slur he said. But how do you think the NFL should take this? Because it looks like they're going to fine him, for making that slur. What do you think, Count? What do you think they're going to do?
Well, first of all, I want to know what the slur was. But I think that we're tightening up on these type of things in real life. So it's just filtered over to sports because they have the podium, so to speak, and they have the cameras on them 9 times out of 10. Those are the people that I think society is picking and choosing to make the biggest examples of. Mm-hmm. Because as you reprimand the everyday Joe Schmo down the street, there's no camera there. There's no headlines to the story. It's just a personal reprimanding. But if I get a player who plays for a team who we could put a camera on, put a podium in front of, and disgrace and apologize, those are going to be the examples, I think. Okay. Whether that's a racial slur, anti-Semitic slur, the N-word, whatever.
Okay, Fig, what's your thoughts on this?
I'm with Talon. I'm not quite sure what an Asian slur is. I was thinking about it when you said it. I don't even know what it is. I just don't. I mean, it's unfortunate because there's I don't think there's anything that athletes go through like in a regular job that educates you on the things that you can and you can't say. And you take these young men and you stick a microphone, hundreds of microphones in their face, and people interviewing them and stuff like that. And to tell you the truth, they're qualified to play the sport that they play, but they're not qualified to speak to the nation. So I don't know. It sort of reminds me of Beast Mode when he just didn't like to speak to the media. He went that whole thing. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I mean, some people are just not equipped to be able to handle a microphone in their face and speak to millions of people, on camera. So I wouldn't even, if you asked me, I couldn't tell you what an Asian slur was because I really don't know.
Right into what your thoughts?
So he said, gotta stop letting gooks in Miami. And so looks like that the word gook in Miami is a word they use in South Florida to call somebody lame. So he may not have been making a Asian slur, but the word gook is definitely an Asian slur, but he might not have meant it in that term, is what they're saying in this article I found.
Well, kudos to you for even finding it, Rodney, because I couldn't even find it, and I googled this. But somebody must have posted that recently. So I appreciate
they had a small article in the Los Angeles Times about it.
that's kudos to you, Rodney Perry, for finding that, man. Because honestly, I couldn't find it. But I'll say this for the record: whatever he said and everything, if he wasn't even sure, he shouldn't have even posted it. You know what I mean? We're in the middle of this Asian hate type of thing, man. I don't know how you not think the word "gook" is not an Asian slur. You know what
I mean, this kid is probably 23. He might not know nothing about the Korean War. You know what I mean?
Why he didn't go to school? Like they teach World War I.
No,
they don't teach gooks. They don't teach like slurs. They don't teach that.
They didn't teach nothing about that. Listen, the one thing I know because I was in the military is when you go to war, it's hard to kill a human being. So what they do, they dehumanize people by giving them these nicknames. And Gook was a name that they gave Asian people to make it easier for American soldiers to be able to kill them when they were at war. Gook is now that Rodney said it, it resonates with me because I'm of a certain age. But like he said, a 20-year-old, you may not know nothing about. I mean, you learn a lot of stuff in school, but the Korean War may not have been part of your history.
And plus, this is the same guy. This is the same guy that worked at the Garden that wouldn't let Pat Ewing get backstage.
I believe that. It probably was. It probably was. Wow. All right, let me move on to the next story because over the weekend, after we get off the air, we talked about Deshaun Watson. After we got off the air, an hour after we got off the air, there were some people who filed some criminal charges against Deshaun Watson. So, tell him, I'm going to ask you, when you hear Deshaun Watson finally got criminal charges filed against him, and look like it's the same type of charges that were filed on a civil court side. What's your thought when you hear about this? Finally.
Well, my thought was I knew it was coming. When was it coming? So, did it come a day or two sooner than I thought? Not really. It actually took a day or three later than I thought. I thought they would jump on this part a lot sooner because of the whole battle of court of public opinion. So I thought because of that, they would, once they started rolling with adding the numbers up, I thought they would eventually press the police, to do the investigation part so that they can put a little flame under there. Because let's face it, they want somebody to blink sooner than later. So I was not surprised.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you, Fig. Are you surprised now that a criminal charge has been filed? It's the same thing as a civil charge. It's not. There's no difference in it. But are you surprised that now they went to the police with this?
No, it's the American way. I'm used to it. I've seen it. I've seen it all before. It's not unusual that they would attack him like that. First you get the civil charges because it's a money grab, and to turn the heat up to make him settle civilly to possibly make the criminal charges go away. Then you turn the heat up just a little hotter by making it a criminal case and threaten him with all kind of stuff. But basically, it's a public flogging, a public hanging. You know what I mean? Keep. If I make an example out of you to keep the rest of the ninjas in line. No, I'm not surprised.
Rodney Perry, you think this helps his civil case?
Of course not. But they're two different things, and so this is less of a police issue and more of a district attorney issue. So, I'm an avid Law and Order watcher, and so what happens is the DF have to decide if he can even win this case. And so now that we see they're going forward with the investigation, means that they have decided that they believe they can win this case because of 21 some odd complaints. And so this is something that they probably didn't want to take on at first, but now because they found something, this implies that they got something that is prosecutable. And so, like Fig just said, they're turning up the heat on Mr. Watson. So hopefully this is not true.
I want to ask you two questions, Roddy. You said avid Law and Order watcher, and Like I noticed that one. I'm trying to figure out what watching Law and Order got to do with it. And what's the word you use? Disputable? This use some kind of word that I was like, okay. You got.
I said I'm educated, Frank. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
But
can I break this down for you, Frank?
Go ahead.
No. When I say I'm avid, I'm not a legal person, but I watch enough of that show to know how it works. And so this is less. The DA tells the police, let's proceed with the investigation because we believe we can win this case.
Right.
All right, Faith,
that's how it works in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah. What Rodney is trying to tell you is that he's not a real attorney, but he does play one on TV.
That's what it is. Well, all jokes aside, man, I think that this is something that they're trying to make sure they prep up to help their civil case. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? They can say civilly, hey, we got all these civil cases in here, and now we decide we have to walk. And, it's a money thing. It's a money thing.
The civil case about money. If he loses this criminal case, he's going to jail.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that.
And they will take the money.
At least he'll get slapped on the wrist by that because it's all misdemeanors. Like these are all misdemeanors. There's not one thing that's above the line that's a real serious felony. You know what I mean? So
and sometimes they use the civil case to pay you off to make you stop pursuing the other case, i.e. the George Floyd trial. You know, they paid his family $27 million, but the criminal case is still underway.
Right. Well, speaking of
Frank, the only thing I would say is we got to be careful about what we say about it because, again, this is Texas. They don't operate like the rest of the world.
Right. And since we're talking about black quarterbacks, let's talk about the one that right now, Justin Fields, who since Friday, he's been taking a lot of hits too because people are saying his work ethic supposedly isn't like a normal average work ethic of a normal QB. Sounds like he's supposed to be the last one in and the first one to go. Now, Talent, when you hear that, now that's one guy said that statement about him, and now it's it might drop his stock, in the draft. It's not basically resonate with him and his family pretty good and everything else. You hear about that, Talent?
Well, I think it's BS. I think that that's a choice of work ethic. You got some players that are praised because that's how they are, how they do their thing. They are, the first one in, last one out. But then you got the majority of the players who are not like that and still good. Some of us, let's face it, some of us have to work harder than others to get the same results. We got guys, when I went to school, I had guys in every sport that some of them didn't work out the same as everybody else. We out there jogging and push-ups and doing all those things just to stay in shape, and they were naturally in shape.
Right.
They woke up, got into bed, laced their sneakers up, and could run up and down 7 million games with the rest of them, the best of them. But some people do need that work. I don't think you charge that to the player like, I don't know about the draft. I'm not going to draft him now because he wasn't the last one out. I don't see that.
Yeah, me neither. Greg, what you think?
I don't like it, man, because this kid, he played for one of those schools, you know what I mean? One of those schools that play a tough record. Then you got guys who are in a lesser conference and they're pushing them ahead of this guy. And the quality of talent that they had to go against is not the same. And unfortunately, the guys that they're pushing ahead of this guy, they're Caucasian, and he happens to be another black quarterback. I don't know if anybody else, but I'm noticing the same pattern over and over and over again that the black quarterbacks gets judged more harsh than his counterparts.
Rodney Perry, what you think about Justin Fields right now facing some harsh criticism because he's supposedly the last one in and the first one to go, and it's hurting his supposedly draft pick number? What do you think?
I mean, they've already evaluated this young man's work ethic. I mean, they had his pro day. They liked the way. I mean, just a few days ago, they were talking about how great his arm was, and now he don't have the right work ethic to be an NFL quarterback. It's some bull, man. I don't like the way it sounds. I don't like the implication of it, and he's got to do some damage control if he wants to play in this league, because he needs to reassure the NFL and these guys to make those decisions that he's that guy.
I'll say this, man. Justin Fields is that one player who has a lot of things like Patrick Mahomes. He played baseball and he played football. And when he was a baseball, he was a pitcher like Patrick Mahomes. He runs around the field like Patrick Mahomes. To me, he's the closest thing to Patrick Mahomes. And if they try to drop his stock, somebody's going to land a gold, player. You know what I mean? They're going to be lucky to get this kid. That's my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see about that. Now I want to talk about the other topic we jumped off since we got off the air. Roddy, you were on the air with us Friday. Friday, we talked about Kevin Durant and Michael Rappaport. This big thing is going back and forth between the two of them. And then over the weekend, actually Friday after we got off the air, the NBA stepped in and they fined Kevin Durant $50,000 for the private, here's the point, the private conversation he was making with Michael Rappaport. He said going back and forth. Talent, do you think the NBA should have stepped in, and do you think that fine was fair? And what's your other thought?
I think the NBA shouldn't have stepped in, but I understand why. I don't think he should have been fined. Even if they was to step in, I think you check him in a different way. I don't think it was fined. I think that was a little excessive, but I know how they're looking at it. They look at it like, yo, you make XYZ, we're gonna take XYZ. It's for you. You should sneeze at it, shut your ass up, and do better. But yeah, I think it was a private thing that someone took public and manipulated the public perception of it and changed the optics and narrative. And this dude paid the price. And one guy turned into the instant victim, white victim, if you will.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Vic, was that not a violation of his personal rights, or violation of just, I don't know. I mean, it seemed like it crossed the line of your freedom of speech. You having one person to another. It seemed like it's violent. If I'm having a private conversation with you, Fig, and you post it out on public, I don't think if we work for the same company, if I work for a company, I don't think I should be responsible for my company that I'm having a conversation with you privately. I don't think it's right. Period. What you think, Fig?
It's par for the course. It's where we live now. And we're in the age of social media. And the one thing that we're learning about social media, as soon as you hit send, all bets are off. It's out there for anybody to get a hold of it. And you lost your I want to say privilege of privacy. You lost your privacy privileges. And 2 words, I'm just throw a name out here of a person who had a private conversation and suffered a whole lot greater loss than $50,000. We talking about Donald Sterling. He had a private conversation with his then fiance, who made it public, and the NBA forced him to sell his team. And we didn't say a word about that. So as Black people, if we're going to put that kind of pressure on others, then we have to be extra careful how we behave, because we know that our consequences 9 times out of 10 will be a lot worse.
All right, now I'm gonna say this. I disagree with one statement you made. We did say a lot about when that happened. We were totally against him even holding that position. So we did speak. We just didn't speak for him for his private conversation. We spoke against him. So Rodney, I'm gonna ask you this: a private conversation between 2 people. Should the NBA step in for a private conversation between 2 people? Because at the end of the day, KD and Michael Rappaport should have stayed private. You know what I mean? He shouldn't have been fined for that, number one. And I think it's an intrusion on his privacy. That's what I think. Granted, I don't like what he said. I just don't like the fact that if I'm having a conversation with you and it's private and you make it public and I work for a company, I don't like that that I'm getting fined for it.
It's not fair, but life ain't fair. The reality is, you have to assume everything on the internet is public. I do. Even if it's a direct message, I'm assuming. Matter of fact, if I'm on a telephone, I'm assuming it's public, like nowadays. So a guy like Kevin Durant, you're uber famous, you're uber rich. You have to assume everything is under scrutiny. You're not regular. You don't get why are you talking to Michael Rappaport anyway? and he's supposed to be like, I was watching videos, they was like, cool. This dude's supposed to be your dog, and he published your tweets. This is absurd. Pick your friends better, dog.
I'm still trying to figure out why he would post that. Talent, help me. Why would he post that anyway, dog? I don't get
it. They both was in their feelings. He poked the bear. And again, what we all, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback. We always forget that we're all human. I don't care what's bestowed upon. The thing money can't buy is you out of your humanity. You are a human. You're just a human with a lot of money. So what happens is the frame of mind, you don't know what frame of mind he left said interview up. You go and hit him about the interview. Oh, just why don't you do the interview, you bitch ass, whatever. And all hell broke loose because he's already in some mind state. It was like, yo, first of all, it's stupid. I did the interview. Ass white, blah, 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 blah. Now they're going back and forth. So my thing is, you've been doing this the whole damn pandemic. He's been antagonistic with everybody he felt that went left and he went right. So
who's he? Who you talking about?
Michael Rappaport.
Yeah.
If you go and watch his page, he's full of rants and videos coming after everybody he want to come after. So that's cool. The same way they got to eat your words, you got to eat these words. This is an argument you started. You don't then turn around, screenshot it, and go, "Hey, public, look at this." And you know it was some malicious behind-the-scene content because you said little slick stuff like, "And this is supposed to be America's sweetheart."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, I get threats and arguments every day, but never did I think it would be this guy. You know, like you saying little stuff like that. So to me, that's part of antagonizing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you didn't just say, put it out there, go, what's your thoughts? He didn't do that. People do that all the time. You'll see something that you think about questionable, repost it and go, hey, what's your thoughts? He didn't do that. He put little sparring things in there like, and this is supposed to be America's sweetheart. Right. You know, and oh my God, I get threats, but look at this guy.
He don't want Kevin Durant to show up and put hands on him.
Mm-hmm. 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 That's what happened. It was too much slang in there that he couldn't differentiate whether it was just smack talking or this dude really gonna roll up on
me. Yeah, right. Fig, what's your last thought on
it? The crazy thing about it is that this is what happens all the time. Especially when it's between black and white, you get into an argument, y'all going back and forth, it gets heated and stuff like that. You say something across the line, you get punched in the mouth. Now all of a sudden you start crying and screaming bloody murder, and now you the victim when this is your MO. Talent just said it. I said it before. This is what Michael Rappaport does. He goes on these crazy rants about people. I mean, especially when the thing with the Capitol and Donald Trump and stuff like that, he goes way over the line. But if you respond to it, then he becomes the victim. And that happens a lot. You know what I mean? It happens a lot between two combatants. The one, put it to you this way, I don't care how combative you are, the one who gets punched in the mouth or the one who loses the fight is always the one who calls the police.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's talk about the NBA, man. I want to jump into this because there were some big games that happened over the weekend, man. Roddy, you missed this too. We were having a conversation about the Clippers Friday, and we were talking about Rondo's. Basically, Rondo be the difference and everything else. Rondo came and played for the Clippers, and when I saw a lot portion of the game, the Clippers looked like a completely different team when Rondo was on the court, bro. He looked like the floor general that we knew he would be, and we predicted he would be. He looked like that dude. So, Talent, I'm gonna ask you this, bro: can Rondo take these dudes to the championship and defeat the Lakers, even with all the powers that they got back? He did look like that dude yesterday. He did look like that dude.
I think he can. I think it's all going to come down to focus. And Rondo has an opportunity here to do something crazy, getting another ring on another team. So I think that's going to give him his own personal challenge. You know, so I would, if I had to bet on anything, I would bet the Clippers are going to be a lot better, a lot more competitive. And yes, I think he can.
And to to further your point, I think he does have a personal challenge because he would have to beat the team that he just left to get to that point. You know what I mean? I think that's a thing that needs to be said too, because not too many players who have rings had to defeat their former team to get to that ring. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think they're gonna have to do that. I don't think the Lakers are not gonna be in this argument, bro.
You don't think so? Okay. All right. Big, what you think?
Sorry, Rod.
You know, it's kind of funny that he said that because a lot of people think that healthy, the Lakers will be there. But the thing is that the funny thing about it is that you had the floor general for the Lakers, who is now the floor general for the Clippers. And if they go up against each other, not only is Rondo a floor general and knows what it is, knows what he's doing on the basketball court, how to get everybody involved, he also knows the Lakers plays. So unless they throw in some new wrinkles, he knows all the ins and outs of that team because he was just there last year. So they would have to change up drastically in order for him not to know what's going on before it happens. And Rondo is the kind of dude who can figure it out even if he wasn't on the team. But now he was. That adds another little piece to the puzzle.
Rodney Perry, Rondo is on the Clippers, right? The Clippers went and got Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder has not re-upped with the Lakers. The Lakers are in shock right now. Why he hasn't re-upped. Are the Lakers regretting letting Rondo go, especially after last night's game?
No, they would have had to pay Rondo way more than they wanted to pay him. I mean, he's not even. I think he's making less with the Clippers than he made with the Lakers last year. I mean, the short answer is that Rondo is a great player. And the Clippers were in need of a guard, a real point guard. And so whether that's Rondo or somebody like Chris Paul, they needed somebody like that, and they finally filled that role. But we don't know which Clippers going to show up. Is it going to be the faulty Clippers with the short in the wire, or is it going to be some brand new Clippers? Who knows?
But Rondo could be that dude. Like in the last 2 games, he's turned the Clippers around. Like, you know, and if he could be consistent, you never know how these Clippers are going to show up, man, because he's the floor general on the floor. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. No, but he's making a difference for the Clippers.
But you also got to remember, Rondo was hurt summer last year too before they win the bubble. Mm-hmm. So Rondo is still 95.
Okay. Well, his 95 is a lot better right now than Dennis Schroeder was when he was on the floor for the Lakers. You know what I mean?
You know,
I think they traded down. I think they got one guy. And
you don't need a Rondo caliber player when you got LeBron James.
They wouldn't have won without Rondo.
The ball 70% of the time.
Big, tell them they wouldn't have won the game. They wouldn't have won the World Championship.
I don't think so. Rondo was a real intricate part. But then again, if we're talking about the Western Conference Finals, then Rondo has more of an impact. But once it got to the finals and they played Miami and Dragic went down and Bam Adebayo, got injured, then it was pretty much no contest because at full strength it would have been an all-out war. But the thing about it is, I think what came out, I don't know if any of you guys heard this, why Dennis Schroeder is really upset and it seems disgruntled with the Lakers is because right before the trade deadline, he was on the trading block. And I think that's why he was really upset. That's why he's upset now. And right. He's not really feeling him like that.
Well, I mean, but understand what I'm saying. I'm not dissing Rondo. I'm saying Rondo was also in a perfect storm last year. He played with AB. Yeah.
AD.
He played with AD, so they had a unique relationship, right? He knew, put them lobs up. He was killing that. And Rondo is cold. But you don't need Rondo. I mean, like, the Clippers are going to need Rondo, like, from Boston. They need that Rondo. Does that Rondo still exist is the question.
I think they could get by with the Rondo they had last year.
I don't think they
last year they could get by with that.
I don't think they need Rondo to score.
I think Rondo was guarded. He was covered. He had LeBron. He didn't have to even bring the ball up every time.
The thing is that I think Rondo, the Rondo that the Clippers need is the facilitator. They really don't need Rondo to score. They need Rondo to facilitate and get everybody involved and get the ball where it's supposed to be when it's supposed to be there. I don't think they really need him to score. And one thing that nobody said, that three-point shot that Rondo takes now, he's hitting it at a much, much, much higher clip. Like he was damn near when he put up a three-point shot, he hardly missed. It was incredible the way he shot last year.
All right, let me move on because I want to talk about a little bit about the NFL. Squeeze something in here, especially this one's for my man Rodney Perry. I want to see if he likes this one or doesn't like this one. The Chicago Bears coach Matt Nagy now has said that he is officially going to return to being what he does best, calling the offensive plays. And of course, we all know now the quarterback now for the Chicago Bears now is Andy Dalton. So I'm gonna start with you, Rodney Perry, and I'm gonna ask you, what do you think about Matt Nagy right now starting to call the plays for the Chicago Bears? What do you think about that?
I mean, is he saying he wasn't calling for Mitch Trubisky? Is he a player?
Yeah, he was not. Who
was calling the plays?
I don't know. But I'm starting with you.
He's still the head coach. The buck start with you, dog. You should have been calling the plays if you wasn't. And if you do and you still it's still messed up. What else we gonna do? You know, Andy Dalton, for me, Andy Dalton is a little hot smoldering piece of doo-doo anyway. So,
oh my God.
Hope all these quarterbacks at large, we end up with Andy Dalton.
So you don't think Andy Dalton's better than Mr. Trubisky?
What is that saying?
I'm just asking. I'm asking. I don't know. I don't watch the Bears play.
So either you're a pile of dookie or a steaming pile of dookie. I think they both dookie.
I think it's steaming pile of dookie.
All right, Steve, there you go. All right, Calvin, what you think about this, man? You think Matt Nagy calling the plays now for the Bears is going to be a difference for them for this upcoming season?
Absolutely. I first of all, I want to take steaming pile of dookie for 200, Alex. It better make a difference. Shoot, if he wasn't doing that, I'm like, Rodney, well, who the hell was calling? So if he wasn't calling anything new in Chicago, it basically should be better. When you look at where it came from, no matter who want to take the blame for it or not, when you come in able to change, give yourself opportunity to do better than what you were doing. So absolutely, I say absolutely, things change for the better, hopefully. And again, I'll take steaming pile of dookie for 200.
Fig, what do you take?
You know what's kind of scary to me is that when the head coach says, I don't want to be responsible for what happens on the offensive side of the ball, you can pretty much figure that this next season is going to be a doozy. He's like, listen, whatever happens on the offense side of the ball, it's not my fault. I not do it. I not making the call. That's somebody else. It's not me. You blaming him. You fire him, but I need to keep on my job. Nah, Nagy, you can't do it like that. You the head coach. The buck stops with you, sir.
That's hilarious. We all know the Bears got a great defense. Let's see if their offense catches up. Now, here's another thing I saw over the weekend. I'm going to start with you, Talon. Jadeveon Clowney is visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. Could that be the piece that the Kansas City Chiefs end up securing to help them get back to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl? Is it Jadeveon Clowney?
I don't think so. I think it's a good piece. But can we sit here definitively and go, that's the piece? No, I don't look not that good. Good enough. But I think they're not done shopping as well, too. I think a couple of little pieces that they want to tighten up on. Because let's face it, we say it every week since the Super Bowl, the man has been running for his life. The man lost a lot of options to COVID and injury in the very last minute when it's the worst time to do it, right? Going into a Super Bowl. But I think it's a great additive, great piece. Get you a step closer. Closed out deal? No, but closer.
I'll say this. I think I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, Talent, because they should be addressing the loss of Sammy Watkins. That's what they should be addressing. But Fig, what you think?
I don't know, man. I think if you give Patrick Mahomes a little bit more time, my main thing is with Patrick Mahomes is this kid is a magician with the ball. He's elusive. He could throw it, and he could get it anywhere with great accuracy, whether it's a short pass, or out, down the field, outside the hashtag, wherever. He's a magician with the ball. If you can protect him is where the problem is with me. Now, if Tampa Bay makes it to the Super Bowl again and it turns out to be the Kansas City Chiefs on the other side of the line, Jadeveon Clowney is not a bad guy to have on your team, because we all know if you can make Tom Brady dance a little bit, you got a chance of beating him. That's the way that you get to Tom Brady and beat a Tom Brady team. You got to make him uncomfortable. You got to hit him, and you got to make him dance a little bit.
That's if they both make it to the Super Bowl, especially Tampa Bay on that side.
Right.
Yeah. Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts?
Well, everybody knows it takes bands to make Tom Brady dance.
All right, Rodney.
Everybody knows that.
The dancing bears. There you go. The dancing bears. There you go, Rodney.
Everybody know that.
Everybody knows that. But anyway, the question is Clowney gonna make a big difference for the Kansas City Chiefs? Clowney is a great player, but I don't see it. I mean, they got to show up their offensive line. It would be great to have a Clowney. Don't get me wrong. Somebody put pressure on any quarterback, that's a win. But to say that, you know, they're gonna turn the corner because of Clowney, no, they're gonna turn the corner because them guards and them tackles.
Right. I'll say this, man. For the record, Jadeveon Clowney is not going to probably land on Kansas City because he wants all his money. You know how it is, those players, they want, like, you know, when they're free agents, they try to go for the best one. And let's look at it. He hasn't been signed yet. We're a week away from the draft. He should be already been signed by somebody. It's a money thing for me. I don't know. But anyway, y'all, that's the show. We got to get a roll up out of here.
I always thought the funniest phrase, and when somebody say, he gonna want all his money.
Yeah.
How dare he?
All his money, but I'm only saying because he wants that money in his contract that he got last year. He ain't getting that.
I know, but it's a funny ass phrase when you think about it. Yeah. Like, you know, call him. Nah, I ain't calling him. He gonna want all his money.
Yeah, call the other dude. He ain't gonna want all his money.
Rodney, don't think we didn't recognize you coming in here with your little Ron Isley thing going on. We see you, player.
Ron Isley, you know, he been dying his hair for 100 years, so it was good to see him gray last night.
So let me ask you a question. In closing, who won? In closing, who you think won?
Isley brothers all day.
Really?
Okay. Oh, that was the way he looked at that. We'll have to take that for another day.
Okay. You think not? You think not, Talent?
Nah, Earth, Wind, Fire all day, bro. You can't. The elements.
I love Earth, Wind, and Fire, but they did not win.
Okay, I'm just saying, bro.
We had to go offline. We had to go offline.
Yeah. Hey, can y'all please? Can I end the show? Talent. Can you tell everybody?
Check me out 6:00 today. WEMSradio.com, WEMS Radio.com. Motivation Monday, 6:00 with me and myself, Amir Silly. We get you set straight today.
Yeah, y'all gonna talk about this tonight, right, Talent? Y'all gonna talk about Earth and Fire.
I'm coming on.
I'm sure that. Rodney, how about that?
RodneyPerry.com is the website. Rodney Perry live on all social media. I'll see y'all in cyberspace.
There you go, Figs.
You already know, man. Comedian Fig, all social media platforms. And the box seats, Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Best damn sports show on TV. I'm trying to tell you, WIMS Radio. That's women's radio. That's what that is, women's radio.
All right. Show's called The Box Seats. The channel's called The Humor Mill. This week we definitely got some guests this week. Looking forward to some of that. Trying to confirm them now. Y'all know what it is. The Box Seats is the show. The Humor Mill is the channel. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, y'all. Take it in. Peace.
Do I?